Walorski to inquire.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to our panel today and your expertise. I appreciate it. I don't think it's any secret that China's been predatory in its trade practices. I don't think there's anyone in the room that hasn't disagreed with that sentiment. They steal intellectual property. They erect unscientific agricultural barriers. They force companies to transfer their technology and manipulate their currency, and all around create a completely uneven playing field to stack the deck in favor of Chinese companies. President Trump, though, promised, like others, that he'd be tough on China. Unlike others, President Trump has kept that promise. For too long, China maintained these egregious practices because they had every incentive to. All they ever received was essentially a wag of the finger, a slap on the wrist. Even during the Obama administration, the U.S. and China held meetings like the Strategic and Economic Dialogues, but they were more fanfare than real results. After the second meeting of the dialogue in May of 2010, the Obama administration trumpeted that China committed to innovative policies consistent with strong principles, including non-discrimination, intellectual property rights protections, market competition, and no government interference in technology transfers. But you know what? China made a similar promise during that third meeting, too. And in the fourth meeting, and the fifth meeting, and the sixth meeting, the seventh meeting, and the eighth meeting, I don't think anyone would say that China has followed those principles, those practices to do anything to improve intellectual property and to end the forced technology transfer. It's the same story when it comes to reducing barriers to foreign investment in agricultural imports or buying more American products in general. China seemed to follow the same playbook year after year, making lofty promises, make marginal, if any, progress over the course of the year, promise to do more in year two, make marginal, if any, progress in year two, and so on. It's been a continuum. It's like watching an inchworm make its way down a football field. It might get to the end zone eventually, but anytime soon. The main problem with the previous administration's approach, in my view, was that there was no real stick to go along with the U.S. carrot. And I think that the key difference with President Trump's Phase 1 deal, it includes a crucial word that we heard over and over from my friends on the other side during the debate over USMCA, and that word is enforcement. No one was going to get everything they wanted in Phase 1. However, I have more hope this time around that we'll see China actually implement the commitments it made, because there is a way to hold them to their word. In fact, just yesterday, many of you know, China lifted its ban on American poultry products and other ag products. I'm still concerned about the Section 301 tariffs, though, and will continue to advocate for a scalpel and not an axe. I think there's work to be done to ensure transparency and fairness in the exclusion process. I think we should be re-examining tariffs on medical devices, especially in the light of this coronavirus outbreak. But I do balance that with the knowledge that we simply couldn't continue to let China play this game of making promises with one hand while stealing American technology, jobs, blood, sweat, and tears with the other. It's not a sustainable strategy for our economy. And with the Phase 1 deal, they're not going to get away with it any longer. So, Mr. Stafford, my understanding is that the Phase 1's agreement enforcement mechanism is designed to resolve problems within a few months. Isn't that the sort of timeline a real improvement over something like the WTO that could take years?
Yes, I do think it's a real improvement, and it's really one of the most interesting and innovative parts of the Phase 1 agreement. As I said, it will be fragile to use, because if the U.S. pushes more than China is willing to accept, they'll retaliate, and then the thing will fall apart. So it's going to be very delicate, but it's a brand new tool, and I would be happy to be back in my old job and having this tool.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thank the gentlelady.